right, Paul. We're going to have to start over because for some reason we were not live.
Oh, no.
What in the world is going on?
It said we were live. Now we are live. Welcome, everyone, to Blacksburg on the Rocks.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Bells, it's always amateur
There we
hour.
go.
And Doug, F you.
Bliss.
But those glory days, gentlemen.
I'm sorry, Paul.
I'm
simple
to
man.
speak from right where I was. This will make no sense to anyone, and that's what I love about it. Those glory days seem to be a distant memory for us. Coaching changes, recruiting missteps, a lackluster performance has left us, Hokie Nation, reeling. The program's identity, once forged in toughness, resilience, has faded. We've gone to competing from ACC championships to fighting for a bowl bid. Attendance continues to be, okay. We are on the brink of irrelevance, ladies and gentlemen. This is not about wins and losses. This is about pride. This is about tradition. This is about competency. So I ask you, how did we get here? How did it happen? Poor leadership? A lack of vision? The answers are complex. But one thing is very clear. We must reclaim our legacy. We need bold action, renewed commitments, and unwavering support to Coach Pry and the coaching staff and the players. We believe in you. We trust that you'll revive the greatness that is the Hokie spirit, inject life into our program, and guide us back to prominence. To my fellow fans, I say to you, let us rally behind this team, rekindle the energy, and refill Lane Stadium with the deafening roars that we once knew. Together, we can resuscitate this once mighty program. The Hokies will rise again. I say unto you, let's go.
Hokies.
Amen.
You know what, Paul? That was a much better speech than I was expecting. I was expecting another rant about fucking Pizza Hut. But you know what? I'll take it. That was an excellent speech.
I had Pizza Hut earlier, and I'm seeing the scrolling sponsors down below, and I'm glad they're not a sponsor. Everyone out pizzas the Hut nowadays. And kind of
now,
like
wait a minute. Now,
football.
Wait a minute. Does your Pizza Hut have a lunch buffet and a salad bar?
It does. It does.
Bridget, we're going to Richlands next weekend. All right.
But hey, I found out that the Pizza Hut in Hillsville is a 90s replica. So that's probably the one we. Yeah.
Bridget, we're going to Hillsville.
Yeah.
Going to Hillsfield to see the Pizza Hut. Yeah, excellent.
Yeah, my Pizza Hut was underwhelming tonight.
Nails has two questions. One, Zach, what's your history with the military? And two, Jeremy, why is eating tuna often bad for you? Is there really that much mercury in it? Thanks. Now you'll be fine. You'll be all right.
Yeah, you'll be all right.
Yeah,
you gotta die something.
You'll be okay.
I was in the Army. I went into the Army right out of high school and spent some time in the Army and then National Guard when I was in college. I didn't really do anything heroic. You
were brave enough to go. That's heroic to me.
Patrol and some shenanigans down there, but other than that, I came out all right.
What happened to that guy in the pictures? That's supposedly you in the military. Did you eat him?
Someone did. Someone ate him and threw him up, and then I ate him.
Nice. You normally got to pay double for that kind of action.
Yeah, usually you do, especially in parts of Mexico I was in. Really, my core is not what it used to be. Yeah.
Mine either.
You get old. Your body just gives up on you. And one day you're like, I'm going to take a break from working out. And then 10 years later, you're still on that sabbatical. And my wife's all right with it, so I'm all right with it.
At 49 years old, I started going back to the gym this week. And I've discovered that there's a lot of things that I used to be able to do, like push-ups, pull-ups, sit-ups, that I can't do anymore. At least
you
not
don't
a lot.
have to.
Well, you're supposed to when you go to the gym. It's.
Well, guys, let's jump into it. We're starting to back up with questions. I believe Chris here has a really good point. We don't have the money to compete in the current environment, except I would argue we do. We actually paid out the money that we were supposed to keep all our key pieces and have our key pieces and have the right things. We just didn't manage it right. We should have had our fucking offensive line shored up in the offseason. We could have the best skill positions ever. But, what's the point of getting a fifth great receiver when we don't have a fucking offensive line that'll keep Kyron protected more than 2 seconds?
Zach Helton to right tackle, please. Zach Helton to right tackle.
I'm more of a right guard myself, but in all the years that I played football, I never stepped on my quarterback's feet. So I've got that going for me.
I think he is now responsible, I think, for 3 sacks and a safety at this point.
And he's still on top of the depth chart.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's a great young man, but we got to do better.
I'm not so sure about that because I don't know him. I just see what I see on the field.
That tells you everything you need to know about the depth chart of our offensive line, right?
Yeah.
If the dude that's given up more sacks than the cashier at Walmart is still at the number 1 spot on the right side,
we have been joined by Nels Williams, everyone. Nels has dropped into the bar.
Ladies and gentlemen,
he's single.
Y'all got me
single, ready to mingle.
Hey, Nels.
What's going on? I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'll join. I'm making dinner right now, but I got to go back to work.
There you go.
What are you making?
I want to tour the ESPN studio now that Nels is
so I'm currently making stir fry. I don't think it's stir fry.
Oh, exciting.
We got tuna, which is why I was asking, and then I'm going to add some eggs to it afterwards. I'm not sure if I'm going to have rice or not because that takes, unfortunately, forever, but it will.
Ladies, he can cook.
Yeah.
Nels, Paul put you up to this. Nels, drop in and show us what you're cooking while you're cooking.
Absolutely not, but I'm here for it.
Is there something about that studio that just makes people, you know what?
Chris, you're right. You are right, brother. You are.
No, I just honestly, man, I just figured I would get my qualms out because it's like, man, I can't believe we're even at this point, And I think you mentioned it, Jeremy, the whole O-line thing versus paying for a 5th-star receiver. The problem is we did pay for an offensive line, but I firmly believe that this staff would have put in somebody else had it anybody been better. That's the thing. There's just I don't think that they have really any of the talent at the offensive line. And would you believe me if I told y'all that the pass blocking grade for the Rutgers game was the highest PFF grade given out in
Absolutely not.
It's true. But the thing is, it's true. And also on the safety,
we caused our own safety. There has to be a negative PFF grade for that.
Listen, that'll go down as one of the worst plays in college football history.
No, it absolutely will. I'm sick and tired of Virginia Tech being memed, but Kyron Jones had 2 wide open wide receivers, and he froze. He should have scrambled out of that point. If you saw him, I don't know what it is, and I think a lot of people are just don't really want to admit it. I think that unfortunately, Kyron Jones, Sam Darnold for the Jets, is seeing ghosts a little bit. I don't know what's going on out there. But against Rutgers, he was missing reads. He missed Quan Felton twice. There was the safety play that happened where, like I said, he easily should have rolled out or scrambled, and he had 2 men wide open. If you look back and watch the film, and he just missed. So I don't know if that's a coaching thing. Which the problem is there's no one clear solution. Holy shit!
And Grayson Wimbush has joined us.
Oh man, that was quick.
Wow!
I didn't mean to interrupt, but
yeah. No, this is crazy.
Now, of course he's seeing ghosts. He's been having to drop back and immediately release the football all season. He's going to see ghosts. I'd see ghosts too. He's getting fucking sacked by his own fucking lineman. Who isn't going to see ghosts?
It's just crazy. It's just, you know what? The biggest thing is how, you know what I keep thinking about? It's the Sweet Child of Mine, the end where they're where do we go now? Where do we go? It's what? And also, you may ask yourself, how did we get here? And it's
I asked that in my speech.
I don't know, man. I genuinely, I don't know what happened. This feels like the Twilight Zone. A month ago, we had people on ESPN hyping up the Hokies and saying that, like, Pat McAfee fucking picked Virginia Tech to win the ACC. And you know what? I believed it at that point. And I was literally the one pouring Kool-Aid down people's throats because I believed it. And that's the problem. As a DC sports fan, as a Virginia Tech fan, never believe any hype. Always come in with your expectations, though, and you'll never be disappointed. And that's how I'm feeling right now.
That is true.
I have a question for Zach. Since you served and were on the Mexican border, do you get PTSD when you go into Mexican restaurants?
Yeah, every time I smell a fajita, I start to flip out.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding. Actually, I didn't eat any Mexican food growing up because obviously in Richlands there was no Mexican restaurants.
There's a Mexican restaurant in Richlands.
There is now.
It's really good.
When I was a kid, there was not. So that's where I learned my love for Mexican food. But yeah,
Grayson and I learned ours at Taco Bell.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Brother, cheers.
I learned mine from Monterey and Wise. Shout out Monterey.
I told y'all, I told Jeremy and I told Paul I might pop in. Nels, Zach, how y'all doing? We good, guys?
what is up?
Yeah.
I'm not cooking. Nels is, but
Yeah, I'm cooking right now. So
Yeah,
What's
Nels is just straight fucking cooking. He's
Yeah,
turning
dude,
into Paul slowly. He really
I got the
is.
rice going here.
There is something about that studio that just has like an adverse effect on you mentally. I'm telling you.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that?
You're
Nothing,
coming
nothing.
on, you're
You're
like
good,
on the
buddy.
show, and it's like,
Keep
I'm
rolling.
gonna cook. Like that's just such a Paul move. It really is.
I mean, I was like, I'll tell you, I was just working on making graphics for social media, and then I saw y'all were like, oh, we're gonna do the show tonight, and I was like, yeah, you know what? Like, I started listening. Why were y'all on late though? That's my question. Whose fault was it that y'all were on 10
That
minutes
was
late?
my fault. Like I clicked to go live, and for some reason it didn't go live. I think it's because I tried to do an Instagram.
there was an
go
entire
live or
segment that
something.
was great that no one got to see.
Yeah, it's
Terrible.
a great segment.
Terrible.
Zach made me weep. It was incredible.
Yeah.
Zach, look at Nels's milk carton has your manhood missing on it.
Well, I'm a 2% guy, so I know that's not mine.
Mm-hmm.
Those are egg whites actually, not even milk. So
Oh, is that? Oh,
You
But
won't
here's
drink
my
them.
question, guys. Here's my question. What happens if
do it.
if Miami comes out and pulls a Miami and we actually pull that off? Like we did.
That could happen.
God, what year was it? Was it
2019.
2019.
2019.
When I had given up on the season, we come out and we spank Miami. And I'm like, fuck, we're back. Like, maybe what happens if we do that? How are we feeling? Because I feel like we've been through this so much at this point that I'm still not going to believe.
Y'all know they were 2 touchdown favorites in that game, too, in 2019? Miami was. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they definitely were.
What are they-
Wheels hadn't
what are they
fallen
now?
off.
It's, 19.5 points or
it's,
something like that?
I think it's 20.5 points.
That
I
makes
don't know.
sense.
I think
Yeah, I'm
baseball
not
shooting being
surprised.
available is the reason why that's been like going up and down a little bit because no one knows like his injury. But today he was like full contact, although I doubt anybody was touching him. And I think that's part of the reason why like it's that high is because they didn't know what it would play like, and because they're going to kill us. But I firmly believe I've said this on the show this week. I firmly believe if Virginia Tech plays 60 minutes and actually like comes out like the team should be. And we all know that they can look like. I think they can give them a run for their money. I think
Yeah, they
upset.
can.
That's
We
the
can play
problem.
with anyone.
Yeah,
If we did that, it's just really hard to do that.
yeah, and I'll see it
I
to
want
believe
to
it,
ask
which
you
is what I've been
guys
saying
all
for
a
4 days.
question. I have a question for everyone because I joined Hokie Nation in 2016 when I got here. When did moral victories become acceptable? When was it okay if we just keep this game respectable against Miami?
They started probably in 2015 in the
Okay.
Beamer denouement. That's probably like when you got the first hint of them. Like because in 2012, at Russell Athletic Bowl, people thought that was an anomaly. People thought that was like, oh, what the hell? Oh, that's just weird. 2013, you come back and it's still not nearly as good. And then people are still palpably angry. Same in 2014. Like we beat Ohio State and people rode that high all season. And then in 2015, it's like, okay, we're transitioning out of this generation of Tech fans who know what it is for us to be a great football team.
Now,
And so that's when they started, Paul.
I think it's synonymous too with the Beamer meme with his hands up on the Wake Forest game.
No.
Yeah, that's a good point.
We all
That's
know
a
when
really
this
good point.
fucking started. We all know
Yeah.
exactly when this fucking started. When we won the Sugar Bowl, and they said Danny Cole didn't catch the ball.
Yes.
Everything since then has been downhill. We were coming into the next season, and that season is the season I compare this to right now. We came in, fuck you, Paul. We came in, and it was full on. This feels like LT2 again, his second year. Whenever there was that much hype, and just things did not click that next year because, yeah, that time we had lost a ton of receivers. You know, it was a tougher time, and now we don't have an offensive line, so it just kind of feels like we think because we have these star players that it's going to click and we're going to have this great team, when in reality, it's not clicking at all.
For the record, I don't blame Michigan for the curse of Danny Cole. I blame the Pac-12 official.
Pac-12 refs?
I don't blame Michigan. I blame the guy who overturned the call.
The guy who
That's
overturned the
karma.
call was a Michigan alum. It came
That's
out later that the
Oh, that's
Pac-12 officials got into a bit of a scandal because they were sending out all of their reviews out to non-officials to make the decisions. The person they sent it out to was a Michigan alum. So,
I
yeah.
didn't know that.
And that's karma. There's no more Pac-12. So suck
And-
it, Pac-12.
Yeah. No more Pac-12.
It just took a little
There
bit.
might be an ACC soon. We'll see. No, I think FSU is pretty much coming crawling back at this point.
Well, I was
Fucking
gonna say
SEC.
there's no one's taking Florida State right now. It's not after
No.
that start.
Who the fuck would want them? Yeah, you bring a ton of viewers, but it's like, yeah, they're already getting a ton of viewers in Florida. What the fuck do they care? You know, I know media
Right.
markets aren't the same as media markets then. It's a ton of additional fans, but why take them on if they're just going to do this kind of shit all the time? I don't blame the SEC
Well,
or the Big Ten.
from a media market standpoint, Miami is more appealing. Miami is probably arguably the most appealing program in the ACC if you're just strictly going off of media market numbers. Miami is way bigger than Talladega.
Notre Dame, I guess you want to throw them in there too.
Ah,
But
screw
they're
them.
Well,
they're like
yeah, but that's
you
not.
know,
They're
but you're
not a
gonna be like,
football.
That's
Yeah.
an entire different thing. Yeah, as far as football,
That's a whole show
that's an
for
entire
later
different
on.
media deal.
Remember when the Syracuse market was going to get New York City for the ACC? I remember.
Oh, yeah, I
Yeah.
remember that.
Yeah.
Pepperidge Farm.
That worked out pretty well.
I think Miami, seriously, I mean, regardless of what happens on Friday, I think they're going to get their first ACC championship ever this season. I mean,
Oh, I
think
they
oh, absolutely.
they look like the real deal. And I mean, listen, like there's always that little part of me in me where I think, 2019 could happen again. But keep in mind, y'all, that was the Hendon Hooker coming out party, where it's like we made him the starting QB and it wasn't Ryan Willis anymore. And then it was like they didn't have any film on him. So he popped off and that game was still very close. But it's like Drones is going to be the guy on Friday night. And I hope he balls out. Don't get it twisted. But I mean, Miami looks as advertised. And I don't
Yeah.
feel
This is the first year that Miami actually has looked the part, like ESPN and everybody like pumps their tires
them to
into
look.
before the season. Cam Ward is a legitimate Heisman contender, and that offensive line is scary. That defense can stop the run, and they look good. Like Grace, I completely agree. This is Miami's year. I think it'll be Miami and who knows the second team because the ACC is the ACC.
right.
But yeah, Miami always gives one up. They gave it up against Georgia Tech last year, and it's like there's always some Miami moment. But this feels like the year that the boy cried wolf, and the wolves are coming.
It's
not
too
just
early.
one wolf.
It's too early. They'll slip up in October or in early November.
I think I'm going to play devil's advocate here. I think they do slip up against Louisville because you've got Florida State the next week, and that's sometimes the only game they care about. And they got to go on the road to Louisville, so that's the one I think they slip up in.
Yeah.
Nels, are you just randomly throwing shit into the pan and simmering it? Is that what's going on over there?
No,
I don't know,
just had
but it's fun that we got Papa Paul and Meemaw Nails over here. Peepop
That's
Paul.
right.
Yeah, over here. Nails cooking for everybody.
Looks good. Looks like a stir
Smells
fry.
great.
It is.
It
It is.
does.
Ryan.
There
We have
you
the rice
go.
to cook.
It's gonna.
I got tuna, egg, and I got some vegetables in there too. And then I got soy sauce.
Is that why you
peanut
asked
sauce.
me if tuna's really bad for you?
Well, no, I mean, yeah, it's tuna is an awesome source of protein, but I looked it up and it was you shouldn't have more than 2 cans of tuna a week because of mercury. And I was like,
That's
what
if you're a
in the world?
cat. That's if you're a cat.
cat.
I really don't think you're cooking stir fry until I see the onion volcano in front of us. Since you're
is
cooking
true.
in front
You
of us.
want me to start flipping food like they do at like the Japanese steakhouses?
Yeah.
Oh, please do that.
Shoot some
Please
sake
do
in my
that.
mouth right now, please. Thank you.
Actually, don't. Then instead of watching Nails eat, we'll watch Nails clean up his stir fry off of the floor. Riveting.
Let me
That
just say
is
this before we
such
move
a
on.
fresh out of college meal. That
Oh,
is
yeah.
You know what?
such a fresh out of college meal. Like,
You know what?
Yep.
I'm making radio at salary, all right? So I
Yeah,
got a ball on a budget right now.
That's
Hey, man, I
that's
ain't
my
making
working
fun of
radio
it.
meal right there. That's what that is.
Yeah.
But let me just
I've
say
been
something
there.
real quick before we move on. I think it's absolutely absurd. This team hasn't beat a non-conference Power 5 opponent since Nebraska in 2009 at home. They haven't beat a non-con Power 5 opponent since 2017. That was West Virginia at FedEx Field.
Yeah.
And that'll have been 2 full classes of Virginia Tech students that haven't witnessed a non-conference Power 5 win. You witnessed ACC wins. You've seen them go 3-8 and a win over a depleted Tulane team in the Military Bowl. But you haven't seen it beat Purdue. You can't see it beat Vanderbilt. You haven't seen it beat Rutgers. You haven't seen it beat all these teams. And that's what blows my mind the most. And yeah, it's nuanced. There's like different coaches, like, sure. But like that to me is just absolutely absurd. It'll have been 8 years starting next year. Like I said, 2 entire classes of students, not a single win over a non-con Power 5 team.
I was a
Yeah.
senior in college when we beat West Virginia. For context, it's been that long.
It's
Yeah.
insane.
I was a senior.
Yeah. I mean, really, the program is on fire. And we keep getting on the hype train every single season, and we keep thinking it's going to get better. And everyone's telling us it's going to get better, but really, it feels like we're getting jerked off in a house that is on fire. Like, we're sitting around, they're whispering to us, oh no, everything's fine. And it's not. The house is fucking on fire.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite an analogy.
Yeah, I'm a
Which
man of
part, Nels, the
analogies, Nels.
jerking off or the fire?
Yes.
There's people
Okay,
out there
'cause I'm trying
closing
to
their
wrap my
eyes,
head around it.
visualizing this as we speak.
And I'm trying
It's
to
a
do it
slow
without
motion train wreck.
visualizing Jeremy doing it, and it's just not working. He's got his bottle of Jameson in his own.
No, you got to visualize our coaching staff doing it. Everything's fine. We've maintained everything. Everything's on fire.
I mean, it was right for us, though, to think at the beginning of the season that this was going to be a good year with everybody coming back. Now, I realize that the offensive line was a question mark last year and continued to be a question mark, but you had to think, logically, you had to think that they would get better just simply by going through the offseason.
Yep.
Like, there was no reason to not believe that even if it was just, a little bit better. What is that, Nels? What?
Oh, that's just the cup. I was like showing off with the ingredients I was putting in, so this is the cup.
Oh, gotcha.
Oh, yes.
Pierce's
Thank
Pit
you,
Barbecue, Williamsburg, Virginia. Greatest
Yes.
barbecue spot in Virginia.
Delicious.
Pierce's is the best.
Great.
Sorry, Paul.
Well, now I have to make a road trip. You
It's
sons of
great.
bitches.
It's delicious.
We'll hit a Pizza Hut on the way.
Well, yeah,
Bro.
that's a
you know-
callback.
you know, I
That's a
discovering
callback.
that there are still Pizza Huts that have the lunch buffet and the salad bar
Oh my God.
in
yeah.
Southwest Virginia has changed my
Yeah.
life, bro. It is Jeremy, calm down. This is just, man.
It's
Oh,
the thread that's holding
It-
Southwest Virginia together, really.
it really.
Yes,
it's no
Pizza
longer
Hut.
Cole.
The,
It's no
no,
longer
it's not
Cole.
cold. It's
It definitely
Pizza
isn't
Hut-
Hokies football.
It's
No.
Pizza Huts with
No.
buffets interwoven with Dollar
Yeah.
General. That is it.
Yeah.
It's been
I
Pizza
was-
Hut ever since the home place closed down. That's got to be it, Paul. Ever since the
That's
home
what I'm
place closed
saying.
down, the red
Yeah,
cups and the
yeah.
salad bar at Pizza Hut is what's holding it.
It's
Southwest.
iconic. It's iconic. And the fact that all of you know what I'm talking about makes me even happier. So it's.
I just want them to come
God
out with a new ACC basketball and try to fit every team on it. Do you remember the basketballs from the 90s? Does no one remember those?
No.
I do not
I
remember
don't.
that.
I was.
I don't remember those.
Google ACC basketball from Pizza Hut. I believe it was Pizza Hut or Hardee's. Maybe it was Hardee's. One of those
Okay.
two. Yeah. ACC.
Yeah, and Wayne, we're losing to
ACC
bottom
and
tier
SEC.
power schools.
Yeah.
It's not just like we're playing Ohio State and losing. We're losing to bottom
Right.
tier.
The answer
Chris,
is
Yeah.
yesterday.
Really, some people smarter than us is too. That's what's
Yeah.
sad.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
yes. So that's the thing is what point are we at where we are talking about changes already again and starting this process all over? Because I'm starting to get there, and it took me a lot longer last time, and I don't want to do that what we did last time. I don't want to go through all that again.
It'd be a page one rewrite.
Yeah.
You start over completely. Because if, God forbid, let's say we go that route, you're going to have kids decommit. You're going to have kids in the transfer portal. That's inevitable at the end of this season. Don't hold your breath. Just watch. Like, if we stay on the current trajectory that we're on,
Oh, yeah.
it'll get murky real quick. And I think it was the Daddy Pry account tweeted today, don't look at the schedule for next year. Think about all the guys we lose just because they're seniors or grad students this coming offseason. Like this team, Andrew Alex made a great point on Hokie Hangover. He said, you know, a lot of it is you being in the right place at the right time. And you have this opportunity to do what you got to do. And this was it. And so 2-2 at the end of September, staring down a top 10 Miami team. This is not where I thought we would be. I don't think it's where anyone thought we would be.
Yeah, it's full bed shittery. Like, we talked about, like, oh, Rutgers looks a little tough, but we should be going into Rutgers. If we drop one against Rutgers, and, you know, that's okay. We can come out against Miami. But to do it the way that we have with Rutgers and Vandy and looking like we're never going to come out and have a strong start, hardly ever, it's getting to the point where what the fuck are we going to do? Like, this is our product. We're going to maybe get 2 quarters, 3 quarters if we're lucky of really good play. And that 1 quarter or 2 quarters where we do not play well, that's going to be the deciding factor, and we're going to be fucked. And the rest of our schedule, Miami's going to kill us. Clemson will come to the house, and we'll pack Lane Stadium, and we'll get rowdy, and then they'll come out, and they'll murder us. And then while they're doing it, we'll have all these fucking videos on the screen telling us to be happy and playing all this fucking music when everyone should be screaming their goddamn heads off. I love, like, the little entertainment during media timeouts. I love what Bailey does. We just need to do that and give the fans 30 seconds before the fucking play starts to get loud, because I'm sick of fucking hearing shit when I'm fucking mad. Oh, I'm sick of it.
Let it out, baby.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sitting there and it's just like, oh, we're playing fucking happy music whenever I'm a fucking nervous
Baby
wreck
Shark.
and we're getting ready to go in. And you got the defensive players like doing this, trying to get the crowd hopped up, and there's still fucking music popping in. Stop. Like, give people a second to exist in the moment without all this fucking shit coming in. I know I sound old, but it's like, we don't need all that. At least give us 30 seconds before the fucking play starts. And if it's a 30-second timeout, don't play fucking anything on that goddamn screen. Nothing. Don't do it. Let us just exist in the moment and let tension build. Fuck! But hey, that's just me. This is sweet, innocent Jeremy.
I've heard, because I have not been to any home games this year, and I won't until Thursday night. I've heard that whoever is running the switchboard and whoever is running the music this year is not doing the best job. That's no disrespect to that person, but I think what I'm hearing is that
I'm disrespecting that person. It is shit.
Fine. I think this person is new, so maybe this person is learning on the job, but every single thing that every person who has been to a home game this season has said the same thing, that like Sandman is off, music cues are off, like the whole game day experience this year from that element is off. So
yeah, they screwed up Enter Sandman the last 2 times. The home game, the first game against Marshall, instead of letting the fans sing the last half of the chorus, they played the intro riff, the verse, and the chorus all the way through. So, or like the second, like they cut it off and it's like an acapella thing. Well, they didn't cut it off like they normally do. And then against Rutgers, they did cut it off, but they were like they must have hit the button too early, because West Side was saying let's go, and then East Side was about to say Hokies, but then it started. So I noticed that actually, Grayson, that was off too.
The second time was a lot better than the first time. I'll give them that.
Yeah, absolutely.
The music selection's shitty. It plays too long. It's like, I can't get hyped. if I'm listening to these fucking upbeat songs or our videos, which are fine, start them, but give ourselves enough time to get the fans back into it, because everyone's sitting there listening to the music, watching the screen, doing this, and then it comes back and the play's already, they're about to snap the ball. How are we supposed to yell? And I understand that they've got the fucking things in their helmets now that they can communicate, but noise is still a factor. We still have to be out there making noise, and it takes you out of it completely. Like that shit's got to stop.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, what do I know? I'm just
agree.
Jeremy. I've just watched a billion fucking games.
Tina says you're being a grumpy old man.
I am a grumpy old man, Tina. She's right. But I love you anyway, Tina.
Tina.
Oh, he's got the
Blake says,
right
have you tried simply giving an awesome quarterback $7 million?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
we're
I
all
agree.
not Tennessee fans, Blake. We don't have that kind of money. Shout out, Blake.
But it's just like going back to like what you said about Andrew's point about.
Wait, hold on,
timing.
Nels. Hang on a second. Grayson, did you just really come at him with, you got a rice cooker?
No. I said, is he using a rice cooker? Like he's bringing
I am,
that
man.
out of left field?
Why would you not use a rice cooker? They're delicious.
Yeah, no,
I've never been to a hibachi where the rice cooker came out, so
Look at this, sir. Look
it's
at this.
really
man.
authentic.
Yeah.
Shut
I
no.
totally am barely participating in this show because I'm just so enamored with watching Nels make his dinner.
The authenticity of this stir fry is getting to me.
Get out of here, Nails. No, I'm bringing him back.
Oh,
I can't do that to Nails.
That looks really
Well, it's like,
good.
hold on. Let me just say this first, and then I can go. I don't care. It's all about timing, is what Andrew said. It's absolutely correct, because that team last year could have at least been 8-4. They could have beaten Purdue, and they could have beaten Marshall. Now, Louisville is a completely different story because they were a better team. Against Rutgers, they're only down 5 heading into the fourth quarter. And against Florida State, I mean, they had, moments of opportunity, right? But it's like the problem is we've seen the potential of this team, and I think that's what's so disappointing is that we know what this team looks like. We know what this team can do, but they just cannot play a full 60 minutes of football. Something always happens. It's like the offense looks good, and then the defense gives up like a 60-yard run. Jalen Lane punt return touchdown, Jalen Lane fumble like two games later. It's like something
that's been going on since I've been here, and my understanding from talking to old Hokies like Dave Perks is that that's been going on forever. That is just part of the tradition that is Virginia Tech football.
But it's just so confusing to me how it's like against Old Dominion, and yeah, granted it's Old Dominion versus Rutgers. It's like you have back-to-back touchdowns in the opening possession. You look sharp. You're running the ball. In the opening half against Marshall, you run the ball 11 times and throw the ball once. Now, I understand Bashal Tutin's banged up and whatnot, but it's like, why can't the simple things be done? You know what I mean? Like, simple is smooth, and then smooth is simple. It's like they just can't do that, and it just boggles my mind. So that's how I feel that was going on.
It's called coaching. It's called you take care of the little things, and then you take care of the big things. If you take care of the little things, the big things take care of themselves. Yes. Zach knows.
That was a layup. That was a layup for one of y'all to say that, because
that's
the problem.
Proverb as old as time, and that is coaching.
Yeah.
And why Virginia Tech fans, top to bottom, are now very concerned. Because I saw the fumble Jalen Lane had. We're all of a sudden we're all on our heels. They're in the red zone, and I'm like, I don't know if this team is coached in a manner that has the mental fortitude to bounce back from being down one touchdown. And the numbers would show that they don't. Because now what the record is 1-9 in one-score games.
And 0-14 when trailing at the half.
Ah, good. So
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I mean, like that's really
it's either 0-14 or 0-15, but it's either bad or bad. Like
it's really bad. So I mean, I talked with Dan on Tails about dude. Like I want the staff to work out. I do. I like them. Like I like Coach Pry. I like what he's been able to do from a rah-rah perspective, and getting people excited again. But I mean, all of that aside, you were hired to win football games.
Yeah.
And you got to start doing that eventually. It's year 3. We're looking at a 3-1 Boston College team in year 1 of Bill O'Brien. You see what Tennessee's doing. You see what all of these programs who have had recent hires are trending for the most part in a positive direction. And the fact that we aren't, given the money that we've spent and the talent that we've retained, that is a problem. And Virginia Tech fans have every right to be disappointed.
My real question about Pry, and I think we all like Pry because he's the polar opposite of the prior regime. But
sure.
when it comes to it, is Pry going to cut that nice guy, and he's going to fire a coach when he needs to and make the change? Because I think there might be some pieces that need to be rearranged. Best case scenario, is he going to be, the authority guy to do that, or is he going to be the nice guy and say, well, we'll work it out?
Yeah, I have advocated since the days of Fuente and Korn that you should not be hiring your boys, at least not in the high power position, right? OCDC, like that. Like you want to hire your boy Brad Cornelson, make him the quarterback's coach, but not the OC, like, because the problem is how do you go about firing him, right? Like, if I'm a head coach, right, and I bring Jeremy on to be my defensive coordinator, and Jeremy's one of my best friends in the whole wide world, like, at some point, if my defense is just trash, how do I go to my boy and be like, yo, Jer, I love you, but you got to go back to the pharmacy. You can't coach the defense anymore, right? Like, that's just a very difficult conversation to have.
It's very difficult, and it's amazing that we're paying him that many millions of dollars to have it.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, like, but at some point you gotta nut up, right? And you gotta do that. You can't, like, if it's, here's the thing. Again, I love Jeremy to death, but if it's me or Jeremy, it's Jeremy. Like, I gotta look out for me, and Pry needs to look at it that way. Fu never would. Like, he hooked himself to that anchor that was Brad Cornelson, and he just let that thing pull him right to the bottom of the ocean. If Pry is smart, like I don't know what the relationship is between him and Tyler Bowen, but at some point, like, you probably got to make that decision, because, in my opinion, the defense isn't the problem, right? Like, the defense shows up and they play. That Marshall game was a perfect example. That defense played out of its mind well. I don't think the defense is the problem, and I don't think the personnel on the offensive side is the problem. I think the problem is the dude up in the press box that's supposed to be making the decision and calling the plays either A, doesn't have the stones to call the right plays and just calls everything safe, or B, doesn't really know what he's doing and is trying to fake it till he makes it, and in the meantime is dragging this offense to the bottom of the ocean also. So might not be a bad idea. And correct me if I'm wrong, none of you may be old enough to do that, but didn't at one point the athletic department have a conversation with Frank Beamer and say, look, it's either these coaches or it's you, and Frank went ahead and he cut all these dudes out, or a bunch of these dudes out, hired new coaches, and all of a sudden Virginia Tech football started going up.
I think it was a 92 season.
92. Zach's exactly right.
Yeah. So, I mean, at some point, like, if I'm Witt, and I know people got their issues with Witt, and I'm not going to get into a debate on whether or not you fire the AD. That's way above my pay grade. But, like, at some point, Witt's got to sit down with Pry and go, look, your boy probably's got to go. Tom?
Yeah.
You already have millions, Tom.
Tom has told me,
you have your own.
Give me the millions and I'll fire Jeremy tomorrow. I know you would. I would hope every single one of you would fire me.
I just want Tom to buy me an ice cream at some point. That's all I want. That's literally all I want, is for Tom to buy
If he buys everyone ice cream, he's not going to have his millions, Paul.
Well, he doesn't have to buy everyone. He has to buy me. I don't give a shit. Again, if it's you or me, it's you. It's all about this guy right here.
Can I at least look at the ice cream before you eat it?
What's that? Can
I look at the ice cream before you eat it?
No, because I don't trust you. You'll try to lick it. I've seen you try to lick things you're not supposed to. Yeah.
See, that's the difference between me and you, Paul. If it were me or you, I would make sure that you were okay. If it were not for my little girl who has to have someone take care of her, I would choose you.
Well, I'm talking about in a coaching world, not in the real world.
Speaking of sharing food, Nels, where's
that food is gone.
Damn.
That food is
Nails, how did you eat that entire
Gone.
stir fry?
Did you just tip the plate up to your mouth and just kind of like scrape it in there?
shoveling it in.
Does he have a
Yeah,
different
let
shirt
me-
on? Did he get it all over his shirt?
No, I just
Yeah, he did
got hot.
do a wardrobe change.
I just got hot, so I got my sweatshirt.
He
It's cold
didn't
as heck.
change his clothes.
Yeah.
I have
Ate
a
a meal and changed his clothes in between. That's like Dolly Parton shit, Nails.
No,
I got
look.
a question for everybody, and I'm
Yeah.
curious to hear what y'all think. Looking across the next 4 games, Miami, Stanford, Boston College, Georgia Tech. Do you see what are your thoughts on each of those games? Like definitively losses, coin flip, what do y'all think?
I'll tell you this, based off the 2-2 start, that has to be, and I'm not gonna. I can go into each one if you want me to, but that has to be a 3-1 run with Miami being the one loss. Like you can't keep muddling through this thing at 2-2. Like if you go 3-1 in the next quarter, right? Like now fans are starting to go, okay, we got something
maybe.
going on. We knew about Miami. Plus, then that means you rolled off 3 victories in a row, 3 victories in 4 weeks, I believe, because I think there's a bye in there somewhere.
Yes.
There is, yeah. It's
And
over Stanford.
so, now you got a fan base that's going, okay. I forgot about all that shit in the first quarter. Let's see.
They weren't even
we
ACC
expected-
teams. Like, this is what
No.
matters. I know. We did it last
Yep.
year. We did the exact same
Yep.
thing last year. You remember I was coming in, we were doing the fucking pregame shows, and I was just getting
Yep.
hammered, and I was just like, nothing matters. Nothing matters in this world. Like, full on. I was just like, what is joy? There is no joy.
Yeah.
There's no joy in this life. My little girl's just been born, and I'm like, nothing fucking matters. Fuck all y'all. Like, and I'm just depressed because we're so terrible. And then we start winning games, and I'm like, I apologize for calling for heads. Perhaps we have something here, and I was short-sighted. That could happen again. I don't expect it to, but I'm very, very willing to eat crow.
But I guess, so here's my follow-up to that.
Delicious
Why the fuck
crow.
does it have to keep happening? Like, why can't it start out 4-0 and then go 3-1? Because I'm going to tell you right now, at 7-1, I'm ecstatic. I am ecstatic. I'm not.
Which is
going,
what this team should have been. It's
Yeah.
what this team should have been.
Yeah.
And to answer your question, I think Miami is a loss or a coin flip depending on the team that shows up. And then all the rest of those games are coin flips. And I firmly believe that this team can do it again what they did last year, where they had the midseason adjustments. And the only difference is that Kyron Jones was a new quarterback coming in. So teams did not have the film and the tape that they do now, which clearly I think it's 80 to 85% of defenses are running a zone against him because that's out of the bag. So they know how to handle him. But they made the offensive adjustments. They did more play action last year. They did more rollouts. And for whatever reason, they went away from the bread and butter. And it's like, I think the problem is this team doesn't want to be a run-first team. They'd rather just pass the ball first, which is very clear after that Vanderbilt game and pretty much all these games right now. But I get it, Bajal Tutin's hurt. But if they come out and they run the ball like they did in the second half to open like they did against Marshall, 11 runs, 1 pass, like this team's going to go 3-1. And that's what this team should have started with. And I fully I agree.
I think we
Why
should come
can't
out.
they just go 4-0, 3-1? Why does it have to be this way every time? I don't know. Did I think that the coaching staff thought that the offensive line would have improved? Absolutely. Is there nobody else in there that can probably play to that element? Yeah, because otherwise we would have seen it. But it's like now the beauty of non-conference play is that technically this doesn't matter. You go 8-0 or 7-1, 6-2, you're still going to be atop the ACC. And yeah, your record might not be that great to reflect it. You're still 8-4, which is I don't think what anybody thought the season would be. But you go 7-1 or 6-2 in the ACC, you're still a fighting chance in the championship game. That's the only silver lining. That they do what they did last year, which the difference is that it was then 3-9 Pitt. Now it's the number 17 in the country on the road on a Friday night. Like that's the thing is the only hope I have left is they did it once, they can maybe do it again. But do we have the faith at that point?
My entire thing is we're coming out and we're trying to, like I said, that we should come out and just bomb it. That way we can open up our running game. Because really what we need to do is establish the passing game to open up the run game. Because that is going to be our star, is our run game. But we're not doing that. We're coming out and we're throwing these little dinky-dunky little bullshit passes. And they can still stack the box. What's it matter? Who the fuck cares about these screen passes? They're still going to pack the fucking box and stop our run game. That's why we got to come out. I don't even care if we miss these passes. Just fucking bomb it. Make them respect it. Like, do that. And do that starting off. That way we can establish this run game. But, you know.
That tuna fish is kicking in. Nels has got to head to the shitter.
The problem.
Please don't make me watch you shit, Nels. Go ahead, Zach.
The problem Friday is the weather's going to be atrocious in Miami. That hurricane's coming through. I don't know if they're going to be able to throw the football at all.
Which is in our favor if you run the ball.
Yeah,
it would be in our favor.
Give them,
and
which
Hurricanes always seem to be in our favor unless the team just straight up, doesn't come and play us like ECU.
I will say this: imagine if Bashal Tootin wasn't the running back for this team.
Ruh-roh, Rabby.
Imagine that. Like, he is this team. Yeah. And that's why I think given the ball at least 20, 25 times, which they would if he was fully healthy, and I hope he will be by Friday. I mean, he's practically wearing a knee brace like he's a left guard. But, I mean, this offense runs through Bashal Tootin. You run the ball and you give him the ball until his wheels fall off. I think he has, 3 straight games of 100-plus running yards? Like, give him the ball until until his tail falls off. And that's how they beat Miami. Like, I don't want to see it pass unless it's 3rd and 5, 3rd and 4. Because you just keep giving Bashal Tootin the ball. Implement more, RPOs. Implement more play action. Let drones read the field for a little longer because clearly the offensive line can't give him the 2 seconds to make an NFL-ready throw. But, man, imagine if Bashal Tootin wasn't on this team. I don't even know where we'd be at right now if that was the case.
So Thursday when the airplane touches down in Miami, they take the bus to Key West to the Fountain of Youth, and they drop Tootin down in the water like a baptism of the legs, and then he's good to go Friday night.
Or you give him some of that white powder you find on way downtown. That'll get him fired up.
Or just crystal meth that we can find downtown here. Simple.
Key bumps.
I think that's right. I think that's right in downtown Richlands. Maybe you have to go to
Richlands. Zach, you know exactly about
Grundy to get that.
Listen, the stuff they cook here, you don't want.
You don't want it. Trust me.
You'll be jelly legged. It won't help you run the football.
That's the key play there.
I have to say to Tom Robb, that's why Michelle is my favorite. And second of all, I carried that damn candy cooler in single-handedly on my back into the Blacksburg store. Show me some respect, sir.
Chris, we used to run one hell of an option with less talented QBs. Remember Randall running the RPO triple option? Yeah. Brian Randall, very underrated quarterback. Like going down the Sugar Bowl, that was my first Sugar Bowl.
Same here, Jeremy.
Yeah, I am proud to say that I have went to New Orleans and watched us lose 2 Sugar Bowls, and I've had fun at both of them, and it's been a blast. And both of them we should have won. If we wouldn't have dropped that pass in the end zone at the end against Auburn, we would have won. If the rest wouldn't have robbed us the second time, we would have won. Just there's shenanigans in New Orleans, but God, I love going there.
Not in 1995, 28-10 over Texas. That was a hell of a win.
Yeah, that's great, but I wasn't there.
Yeah, fair.
Every time I go to New Orleans, I have a blast and watch us lose the Sugar Bowl.
That's me with Atlanta. Like, every time I watch the Hokies in Atlanta and I'm in Atlanta, bad things happen. I was at the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl in 2006 when Georgia came back and beat us, and I was there in 2009 when we opened the season against Bama. And I was like, I'm done. Not going to ATL anymore.
That 2009
it's a new stadium now, though. You can go back.
Like, we were legit. Like, we should have won that ball game. We led the entire game and just gave it up in the 4th.
If you had $1 for every time that a Virginia Tech fan has said that, Jeremy, how much money do you think you would have? If they said we could have, we should have, we would have. That's how I designed this program.
I'd at least have 3 nickels. And that doesn't seem like a lot, but it's weird that it just keeps happening.
It's like, for instance, I saw the 2005 game was across my Twitter, and I was like, and one of the top comments, top replies was like, man, Virginia Tech should have won this game. I'm like, what, they didn't. So quit fucking saying that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sick and tired of every hype video, and I guarantee they'll do this for Miami on Friday. Every hype video is like an old clip. It's always a 20-year-old clip, 25, 30 years, and it's like, because there's nothing in the past 10 years to be able to advertise. And that's the problem, I think, too. We asked earlier how, at what point did did moral losses and become moral victories. And it's as soon as like this fan base and this program started living in the past. I don't think there's anything wrong with honoring the past. I completely I get it. But every single video is always in the 90s, always in the early 2000s. And it's like, duh, that's when the heyday was.
Well, that's
like,
when
get
we
me to the
fucking
point where,
won.
give me last year. Give me something from last year. You know, like give me recent success to be able to advertise with. And you can't. Because it's always like in the past 10 years, shoulda, woulda, coulda. Besides last year's Military Bowl, always shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Yeah,
And
but that wasn't even a real game. Yeah. They didn't have coaches or half their team. That wasn't a real game.
That's my biggest gripe is I'm sick and tired of living in the past. Face the present, and you'll understand what's going on here. Get your head out of the sand and realize you got to win games now.
What's the most recent Miami we could even 2016 when we beat them at home? That's the most recent game we could even pull clips from. That was
it 16 or was it 18?
We beat them Thursday.
No, I'm thinking of Florida State. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of Florida State that we went down there the first game of the season and shocked the world.
We beat them Thursday night, 2016. It was my 21st birthday. That was a great day.
Okay.
Yeah. That was a lot of fun.
We were for the longest time, the newer kids don't get this. For the longest time, we had Miami's number. We beat Miami every fucking year there for a while when we dominated the ACC, and things just started falling apart. Game changed. We didn't change with it. And then now we're still playing catch up. And we thought we caught up. And we didn't.
Yeah, the last win at home was 2016. The last one on the road was 2019. Since 2016, Miami is 5-2. Since 2014, Miami is 7-2. So
God, that's rough.
I think we buried the lead today, gentlemen. Zach, how's Bluefield State looking?
Hey, you know what? Homecoming this week. We got John C. Smith. Going to be a tough task, but we're looking forward to it. 2 Hokies on the staff. So I feel good about it. Davon Morgan, our head coach. Kevin Jones, our chief of football operations. 2 great guys.
Yeah. They are great guys. Hey, I forgot to even ask you about it because we all got into our stuff, Zach. How's things going down there for you?
I think we're 1-2. Came off our off week, but we're going into conference. So just like we alluded to a little earlier, CIAA play, it's all that matters. ACC play, it's all that matters. So we'll see. We're still, this is Davon's first year. Davon and his entire staff kind of got started late. Davon wasn't brought in until I think late March, early April, and that's a tall task. So it was tough for him to kind of get things going. But the culture's different. You can feel it a lot more discipline. It seems like Grayson was alluding to earlier, doing the small things right that hadn't been happening at Bluefield State the past couple of years. And this program, first year was 2021. So still kind of in that infant stage.
That's an infant stage, especially for a college football program.
Yeah. And we had a coach for the first 3 years, and things kind of, back and forth. We had some moments, but I think Davon's going to bring some continuity to it. He's got a great staff, and things are looking up. I could see us running off, a couple of games here down the stretch. But I think this year to next year you'll kind of see that big improvement where you'll have a full off season to work and scout and recruit.
Now, will you play Roanoke College at some point so we can see you in Salem?
I don't know. I think Roanoke's going to be D3, correct?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, and Bluefield State's D2, so.
Okay.
I'm not.
You say no, Paul, you stupid shit.
All right. Well, I didn't know.
Hey, there's a Grundy kid on Roanoke College's roster, so.
Really?
Yeah, it was a little Southwest Virginia flavor.
Nice.
That's one of Jeremy's 2 hometowns.
Yep.
Motherfucker, it is not.
3 hometowns.
Jesus
He
Christ.
loves Grundy.
All right, everybody stick on.
That broke your heart is gone anyway. You can come back.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. We've got to jump off. It's 9:00. we want everyone to go over to Boundary Corner podcast and watch their live cast. They're about to come on. Everybody on here, stick around so your audio could upload and we can do a post-game celebration and curse and bullshit even more. It's a fun time. But yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in to Blacksburg on the Rocks. Yeah. Y'all have a